Hello everyone, it's me Hunter from Coolidge Productions. I'm coming at you with another Thomas and Friends build today. This one, a character you probably don't know because by technically I mean in actuality, the character doesn't exist in the Thomas and Friends universe. When I was younger, I played with the wooden railway models, and recently I've been getting into customs and designing my own figures or characters, especially with Star Wars. You know, if you follow me for a while, you know Star Wars. Everyone likes to create their own characters. Well, when I kind of got back into my Steam train or my train vibe, I thought, what if I made a custom, Thomas and Friends character? So I went through all the, I was watching some of the old VHSs just for the fun of it. Because as I build, I need to look up images. Or in general, too, I just scoured the internet for images. And I came across, Edward. And Edward, I think has always been, a childhood favorite of mine for many reasons. As I can kind of tell throughout the community, at least the older community, he seems to be a favorite. And I really like that engine mod. I don't know what it was. I just like the whole look of the two wheels, and then just two more, just a very simple look. Not a big engine, but not a small little tank engine either. So I went ahead, I did some research into what the actual engine he based off was, and that's a K2 Large Seagull from the Furness Railway. And basically, looking at images of that and taking images of Edward, I designed my own character, which I'm calling Lennox. I did the dark blue. I don't know why, I just really like the look of the Lego dark blue. When you turn to the side, every now and then it seems like the red stripes, which I'll get into, I guess we can get into it now, almost look like too much. But then when you just stop and look at it, it looks really nice. This is the first attempt of me doing stripes, and I'd really like people to let me know what they think of the stripes. I actually really like. I went back and forth. At first, I didn't like them, then I did like them, and then I was like, maybe I'll get rid of one and I'll only do three. But I actually think I'm going to keep it with the four. It looks good because I looked at some images of Edward, and I'm like, okay, how many stripes does he have? I think he has like 5. But the big thing with the stripes is you got one right before the smoke box and got one right before the cab. So I got those, and then I kind of just... I think what happened was I can't center one. If I do my math right, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I have 4 on one side and 3 on the other, so I went ahead and split the difference, adding in 2 more stripes. And again, I think it looks good. The best thing is about this model is I'm just going to literally... When I build Edward, it's going to be the same thing. I just got to do it in blue. So you're pretty much looking at what the Edward model would probably look like, except obviously in the Lego blue. Back here on his tender, looks just like James's tender, but you notice it's got a completely different on there, 2090 or 2090. For those of you who've been following me for a while on Instagram and maybe even here on YouTube, I don't know if I really talked about the clone character I made it Crossfire. And for those of you who are just here for the Thomas stuff, this probably doesn't mean anything to you, but for any of my longtime fans, if you know Crossfire, his CT number was 2090. So I went ahead and I kept that same number. For whatever reason, this number has stood out through me throughout my life. So I picked that and put it on the engine. Now let's get into some detail. Right here we got the window. I had a lot of fun working with that. When you look at at least the Thomas and Friends K2 model or Edward model, it's got 2 rectangular windows. And like I said, literally this is just Edward, but a different color, a different name, different number. I changed up a couple things. But this is what it looks like. The inside of the cab, if you own the Hogwarts Express or if you've seen my Donald or Douglas reviews, it's the exact same inside. I literally just build the Hogwarts Express and then change everything else out except for the interior of the cab. When we bring the engine in a little bit, let's see if it'll focus. Yeah, we got the whistle. I just really like this kind of horn piece, or I think for a bucket it's a handle. I really like the look of that, so I wanted to get that in on my whistle, and that's why I was able to come up with. For those of you who may not build a lot with Lego, because I always have a hard time when I'm doing Star Wars stuff. It's Lego people are watching, Lego Star Wars people are watching just Star Wars, and in this case, Lego just Thomas and Friends, or Lego and Thomas and Friends. I don't really know if that's a big community, but point being is if you're in Lego, you know there's not really a lot of options for round, dark blue or earth blue parts. So this is what I had to work with the dome. All in all, I like it. It's either that or really no dome at all. And you know, it just works. It actually separates the character too from Edward. You know, like some say I'm just gonna replaster this, but I think I might be able to get a little different piece for the dome when I do Edward. So that does it, or it will add a little difference, separate it out. I use dark gray pipes on here for the handrail, which I think just works better. Making this engine a little darker color just works. You'll notice down here I changed this. If you ever own the Hogwarts Express model, you know there's a slope and then this piece. I was looking at a lot of the images online of Thomas and Friends models, and a lot of them kind of have the red that comes down here and here, which actually reminds me I may or may not be changing this up here, this brick that comes down. I have reasons to and I have reasons not to, but anyways, so you got the red stripe as usual that goes along the bottom. Like I said, I just want to make my own character. This is what I came up with. When you look in the front, I got some jumper plates. I got the lamp. You know, lamps are very important. I have my standard lamp choice, so that's You'll notice with the front buffer beam, I have actually dark blue going across, and then the red down here below. So I'm trying to only move the figure, not the camera. So I wanted to try something a little different with the buffer beam. Going forward, I'm going to try different techniques just to see what works best and what looks best. Because the nice part about the Donald and Douglas model is I was able to use the 2x6 front, and then I was able to drop it down to a 1x6. The hardest part with a lot of these other models is to kind of get the buffers at the same height. I still have to use this depth, but I always feel like the buffer beam's way too much, because it's just like, with James it works because James is all red, but I was doing it with him and it's just a huge blob of red excuse me, in front, and it just didn't look good, and it just drove me up the wall. So I ended up taking some dark blue, and I think it looks well. Obviously this side, pretty much the same thing. You'll notice in here, I can't remember if I've done that with my other tenders, if they were done before recording them or there were modifications after. I think Donald and Douglas, that tender, had it. But I have a little opening where the coal would come out, just for the fun of it, just to, you know, do more than just build a square box for the tender. The stickers are actually, I just went out to my local craft store like Joann's, Michael's, picked up some stickers, went to my modeling store, bought glossy paint, the kind I got they use on model airplanes. And I just painted the numbers because I couldn't find any in red. Believe it or not, I had a hard time without going online. I could have gone online, I probably could have found them, but I was just out and about, and I'm like, I just can't find it. And then it hit me, I can just paint it. And it worked really well, especially because the glossy, I think, matches really well. Go looking at the back back buffer beam. You got two tenders, and I'm still going with the Hogwarts Express couplers. I like that so much better for whatever reason. Because my problem with the magnetic ones is I can't design my own buffers because it's all one piece for anyone who owns the Lego trains, other than the Hogwarts Express. So that's what I ended up doing, and that's kind of, as you can probably tell, that's how it works. For those who want to know, this does work on a track. It can go around the curves. Putting the 3 axles on the tender makes it tight. You can kind of feel it if you're pushing it. Or if you just even send it on a coasting path, there's more friction. But it still works. I know I got a question on about my James build. I actually got to adjust the front bogey so it works better. But anyways, I'm going to stop talking because I pretty much walked you through the whole model. The funnel's the same, and then face is a little different. I obviously just chose a different nose, especially with the engine. It's really just the cheeks and the nose, and really, to be honest with you, just the nose that you can change, and the mouth to change the character up. But that's it. I really hope you enjoyed it. I wasn't sure if I wanted to share this, just because it's not actually, made. It's a completely custom build, custom character, but I thought, what, I put a lot of time and work into it. I had fun building him. So I'm going to go ahead and leave you with it. This is a K2 large seagull model based off of Edward, and I call him Lennox. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you in my next video.